Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The Committee on Economic Affairs is now hereby called to order. Forgive my voice for today, but anyway, we have a quorum already since Senator Makino is present. Next item would be, I would like to ask our committee secretary to identify the resource persons for today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming today to our public hearing. May I start the roll call from Ms. Cosette Canilo from the Public-Private Center, Mr. Sunny Domingo from PIDS, an attached agency of the NEDA, Mr. Meneleo Carlos from the National Competitive Council, Mr. R.C. Fajardo from the Department of Local Governments, from DPWH, Undersecretary Raul Aziz, Undersecretary Corazon Jimenez from MMDA, and Attorney Winston Hines from Chairman of LTFRB, Mr. Alberto Swansing, Confederation of Truckers Association of the Philippines, Mr. Michael Royber, President of the European Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Henry Schumacher, also from European Chamber of Commerce, Mr. John Vincent Pimentel from the American Chamber of the Philippines of America, Philippines, Mr. Edgardo Olego, President of the Confederation Truckers Association of the Philippines, and the last but not the least, Ms. Annie Hiron, the President of PS Link. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Next will be the opening statement of the Chair. Again, please forgive my voice today. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being present today. Although the Chair expects to see the heads of agencies we have invited so that we can hear straight from them for us to directly address the issues. However, only I think Attorney Hines from LTFRB hated our call. Umasa ko na dahil sa bigat ng problema na tatalakayin natin ngayon, ay bibigyan natin ng atensyon ng mga heads of agencies. But anyway, my statement is quite long, but because of my voice, I'd like to ask Senator Makino for his statement instead. I will just continue later on my statement. Sir.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. The Chairman and I are both quite serious about this issue, as I'm sure the millions of residents in the National Capital Region also hold this issue very close to their hearts. On a personal note, ako po, I travel from Quezon City to Pasay practically 4 times a week. So that's almost 3 hours a day in traffic. That's nothing compared to what our fellow Filipinos have to face when they commute every day, no? But even then, that 3 hours a day is already a lot, no? That's 3 hours that could, of course, go to our work, could go to our families. In fact, a lot of our friends and colleagues have become very creative with their time in traffic. Kung ano-ano po yung mga ginagawa para lang maging mas productive yung oras natin. So definitely, I think this is an issue that has really come to the forefront, no, of a lot of people's lives. Napakahalaga sa buhay ng tao. And personally, my intention of filing this resolution is really to bring out the solutions, no? Because I think we have to go beyond complaining about it and really start discussing ano ba talaga yung mga solusyon dito, both on the long term and the short term. Today, I think, is the first day that we're trying another experiment, Mr. Chairman, The Highway Patrol Group is now in charge of policing traffic regulations, if I'm not mistaken, or traffic violations on EDSA. And we need to see, of course, if this will be a successful experiment. But apart from that, and apart from the short-term solutions, which I think we need to really concentrate on because of the coming December rush, we also need to talk about long-term solutions. And I'm happy that our friends from the PPP are here, from the NCC. I'm not sure if DOTC is represented, but these are the, LTFRB, no, but the mother DOTC. So we can really look at what the plans are in terms of alleviating the traffic conditions in our country, especially in the National Capital Region. So, Mr. Chairman, with you, I'm very interested to hear what are the possible solutions. Thank you for MMDA for sending Yusek Jimenez. Mapag-usapan natin ang mga solutions, both short-term and long-term, and we can see how all of the sectors can cooperate with each other to really achieve that purpose. Tayo naman sa Senado, if it's a matter of budget, kung may kinakailangan na pondo para mapondohan natin ang pagpapabilis ng trapiko, bakit hindi? Di ba? I mean, we're spending on so many things. I think this is something we need to spend on. And both the chairman and I have quoted the JICA study that says that we're losing billions of pesos a day because of traffic. So, tama rin lang na pondohan po natin yung kinakailangan. So, like all of you, like the rest of the Filipino people, gusto naming mapakinggan ano yung mga, well, the causes of the problem, I think more or less alam na rin natin, but it would be good to have it on record. But more importantly, ano yung mga solution natin dito? What are the solutions to this traffic problem? And how can we all work together to alleviate it, no? If you remember, Mr. Chairman, a number of the people here were also present in my port congestion hearings. And I truly felt, no, I hope hindi naman to pagtataas ng bangko, but I felt that our port congestion hearings, at the minimum, got all the players together to sit with each other and force people to work with each other. So after we had forced people to work with each other, that's when, after a few months, we were able to see the port congestion be fixed, no? And kaya naman pala maayos yung problema gaya ng port congestion. I'm equally hopeful that maybe with the individuals here and the organizations here, we can find a way to solve our traffic problems. No? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Ma'am. That's precisely the reason why we call this hearing, no, for us to hear each other and help one another. Kasi it's been 5 years that the Aquino administration took over, and Senator Aquino, as far as I can remember, when I was still in the House of Representatives in the other side, no, traffic was not so bad yet, no. After we adjourned, if I go to Makati within less than an hour, I would be there. But now it will be impossible. So going as what Senator Bama said, with the port congestion issue, it got everybody together, no, and we were able. The problem was solved after a few months because everybody was together. That's why I would like to express once again my disappointment this afternoon for the failure of the different heads of agencies to appear in this hearing. Hindi naman tayo naglulukuhan dito eh. Senado po ito. Pinadala pa ni Yusek, ASEC. I'd just like to ask, can you all decide? Can you all decide for your agency?
Good
Yusek
afternoon.
Corazon Jimenez,
Opo.
please.
Yes, Chairman Tolentino is right now with Secretary Almendras and General Gonacao of the HPG at MMDA. They're now assessing actually what has happened for the 1/2 day that HPG has done work. So yun lang po, at sabi nga niya, ipaabot daw po sa inyo yung napakahalagang meeting nila na Secretary Almendras.
But I think this is also equally important. As what Senator Mama said, it got all heads together in the port congestion issue. And that's why we are here. We would want to hear from the different agencies of problems, and we might be able to assess, especially now it's budget season. So I am really disappointed, no, that that almost all the agencies ang pinadala sa amin ay panay representatives. I don't think you can all decide for your agencies. Di ba? Sasabihin nyo, tatanayin ko na lang kay secretary pag may tinanong kami. Tatanayin ko kay chairman, tapos babalik sa amin. Ano to, naglulukuhan tayo. Di ba?
Chairman, bago po kami pumunta dito, nag-present po kami kay Chairman Tolentino if it is the right data that we should be presenting to you. So we have actually prepared 6 slides lang po from MMDA showing causes of this traffic, and then we will have to inform you what are solutions that can be done, yung roadmap na sinasabi po.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interject. Although I'm interested to see those 6 slides, no. But if I may suggest, maybe we can keep this this hearing short, and let's just reconvene when the agency heads are here. No, in fairness to Secretary Almendras, I had a conversation with him at humingi nga po ng paumanhin. Sabi niya, this is the first day that they're implementing the HPG. But personally, I would like to hear it directly from the agency heads, no. So maybe we can reschedule at the soonest possible time. Although matagal na rin naman na-schedule to, no? Oo, may na-schedule na rin to ng ilang linggo. But maybe if there are a few who would like to present shortly lang, I'm quite interested to see what the MMDA has to offer.
Thank you, Senator Aquino. For this hearing, we will just briefly hear MMDA, PIDS. You have a presentation, no? Supposedly, JICA. And also, we're very much concerned because with all the economic gains, supposedly, I don't think we will be able to sustain this if the necessary infrastructures are not put into place. I'm sure the European Chamber, AmCham is here. Kung titingnan po natin in the chart, no, we have gained so much, no? Maganda yung nagawa ni President Aquino. We have improved our image, but we are still lacking in terms of foreign direct investments because of our weaknesses in infrastructure. Kaya yan ang gusto natin malaman ngayon eh. That's why I'm really disappointed not to hear. I wanted to hear straight from the agency heads so that we would know hanggang kailan at anong pwede natin gawin. Right? Kaya ngayon, siguro we will just go through this, but as Senator Aquino has suggested, we will not go to a long meeting because we would want the heads of agencies. Otherwise, I do not want to sound harsh, but next time they do not appear, I would like to cite them in contempt already. This is an invitation, no? Senado po ito, hindi naman tayo naglulukod dito. And it is the budget season. We would want to hear what they want and what they need, their agencies need. Tapos, pupunta rito, pali representative. Hindi sa binabaliwala ko kayo. Kaya lang, I don't think all of you can decide for your agencies or can talk or can speak on behalf of your agencies. Ganun lang mangyayari dito eh. Pag meron kayong question, may tinanong kami na medyo may ibit kayo, ay tatanungin ko na kay chairman, tatanungin ko kay secretary. Ano mangyayari sa atin dito? Diba? So, I'm really disappointed. And we will reschedule this, and I expect that next time, please don't waste our time because our time is also precious. It's our budget season. So, we expect the heads of agencies to be here the next time. Okay? We will just present, we will just hear, we will see the presentations today. Okay? Okay, so, Yusek Corozal Menes, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank
Next
you,
will
sir.
be PIDS.
This will be very quick po. These are just figures that we'd like the good senators to just see. The annual average daily traffic in Metro Manila and along EDSA in particular. Ito po in terms of growth, ito po from 2010 to 2014, talaga hong lumalobo po yung number of cars that pass through the entire Metro Manila, and at EDSA, the same thing. No? So, in terms of growth rate, there is a 12.5 increase in the annual average daily traffic in Metro Manila, and in terms of growth rate, there is an 11.6 increase in EDSA alone. And then we did a comparison of the road and railway number of vehicle registration in the Philippines and in the NCR. So, mapapansin nyo po dito, there is an increase, no, from 2010 to 2014. But in terms of percentage share, almost a third of the total vehicle registration in the country is in the NCR, the National Capital Region. I think later on, LTFRB will be able to validate this. And there is a 17% growth in the total vehicle registration in the NCR alone from 2010 to 2014. So talagang parami ng parami po ang mga sasakyan. Ang aming traffic enforcers, we only have 2,281 field deployment in various areas in Metro Manila in 3 shifts. So, kakulangan din po sa enforcement ito, but there's nothing we can do because our budget is really very low in terms of getting more enforcers. And we are glad HPG is helping us out. So what are the issues right now and concern? Traffic management of 7,368 provincial buses of 60 provincial bus companies operating in 85 bus terminals in Metro Manila. So 41 of which are located along EDSA. So that's involving 3,088 buses. So the executive order in 2012-67 providing for the establishment of the ITS, which envisioned a centralized intermodal and integrated bus terminal system in the fringes of Metro Manila. So we've been talking about 2 from the south and 1 from the north. Pero wala pa ho itong nagagawa. What we just have is actually the southwest.
Bakit ho hindi pa nagawa yan? Just to refresh our memory.
This is a DOTC project po and DPWH. So we know that this has been bidded out, but pero hindi pa ho na-implement. So,
Mr. Jimenez, when I was still in the House, we were already talking about
yes,
this.
that's right, sir.
That was 3 years ago. 1 term and 3 years ago. So,
Opo.
oo nga.
Pero itong aming hong pinapatupad ngayon is just the interim.
Can we ask lang ano na po ang status na
Anyone
DOTC?
from
Can you?
DOTC?
Yeah, any representative from DOTC can answer what's the status of that itong hub, yung dapat yung bus terminals, integrated bus terminal, transport service net.
Mr. Chairman, for the North ITS, we are still in the process of identifying the specific locations where it will be put. But for the others, the ITS in South and Southwest, it's already been moving, it's been awarded, and the procurement is to finish.
So, after 3 years, you're still looking for a place. So, North, am I correct? 5 years. 2010 yun eh. Nung una ko narinig to eh. Am I correct, si Camille?
Mr. Chairman, actually, they're trying to determine, because they have 2 choices, NHA and the veterans. So once they've decided on that, that project will push through.
That's only for the north, ano po?
Yes.
Pero yung sa south, I think may area na tayo.
Yes.
Yung sa South, ano po ang status? Nag-start na ba tayong construction?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please, sige, sa PPP.
So the South and the Southwest are PPP projects actually, and the Southwest was awarded I think early this year, if not last month. So madali, if not early this year, last year. So mag-uumpisa na, na-sign na yung kontrata at I think in about 6 to 8 months baka mag-groundbreaking na ho tayo doon. And then for the South, and yung FTI site, nagkaroon na ho ng bid submission about a month ago at saka about to be signed na rin ho yung contract. So I think by first or second quarter of next year, magkakaroon na rin ho tayo dyan ng groundbreaking. For the North po, nagkaroon lang ng complication dahil meron tayong other ongoing mass transit projects, the MRT-7, the LRT Line 1, and the MRT, and dapat hanapan ho ng ITS that would serve all the rails po.
So, thank you, Ms. Candela. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity, and I'll get back to you na lang for the other projects, no? Because we have to find out right now hanggang kailan tayo magtitiis para alam natin, di ba? Kung kailan lahat ito magsisimula. So we have to find out. That's what we want to know. Kaya yan naman ang purpose of the resolution of Senator Bam. No? Okay. So please, Ms. Yusek Jimenez, please continue.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to point out about the interim transport terminal which is being handled by MMDA. All buses coming from Cavite and Laguna po, dapat pumasok na dun sa terminal na yon. So yun ho ngayon ang aming ginagawa. Next slide. So ito po yung itsura ng terminal dun sa Southwest Integrated Provincial Transport Terminal, which is really, as I said, is just an interim. And hopefully the OTC takes over sa atin pong yung totoo na po. We did a comparison of Philippines and Japan and South Korea in terms of road and railway network. Makikita po natin dito sa figure na to, 638.6 square kilometers po ang Metro Manila. For Tokyo, it's 2,188.67. For Seoul, 605.25. So in terms of population, mas marami po sila for Tokyo, no? But sa road length, doon naman ho tayo talo. So 5,037, but ang Tokyo has 24,431 kilometers in terms of road length. And for Seoul, 8,174. In terms of population, dahil sa dami ho ng istasyon, dito sa atin pong rail sa Japan, pansin nyo po, 285 stations sa atin, 61 stations. So I'm glad that meron na ho tayong pinag-uusapang additional lines, no? That goes to Antipolo and the other one that goes to Cavite. So there are just so many things that we still have to introduce. The next slide. Ito po yung roadmap for transport infrastructure development for Metro Manila and its surrounding areas, what we call the Dream Plan. So this is being formulated together with JICA. So we have short-term projects that will go, na ongoing na po ngayon to, medium-term projects up to year 2022, long-term projects 2023 to 2030. I have the list, the good senators, kung gusto nyo pong magkakopya, we have the list, so I don't have to rattle them off. So these are the 5 major components of the Dream Plan. Upgrade roads that we have to increase, 137 kilometers. That includes bridges, flyovers, sidewalks, and pedestrian facilities. For expressways, we need 426 kilometers more of intercity expressways, 78 kilometers of urban expressway networks. For urban and suburban rail, ito na po yung ginagawa natin. NEDA has approved some of this. The bus and the jeepneys, modernization of fleet of their operation. And then, and of course, rationalization of the route structure, which LTFRB would be helping us out. The traffic management modernization, the application of the ITS, as I mentioned earlier. So tungkol doon po ito sa traffic signals, traffic safety, and traffic education.
Yusek, itong Dream Plan, who created the Dream Plan? MMDA?
No, with DOTC and DPWH.
So itong Dream Plan, ito na ba yung solutions natin to the traffic issue?
Yes, sir.
But we're calling it the Dream Plan.
Yes, yes.
Does the Dream stand for? What does the Dream stand for?
Panaginip.
Okay, so hindi yan acronym or anything, no? Okay.
Pero some of these are actualized already, di ba?
So this is the...
Sana, we hope to achieve.
So ang dream, when you say Dream Plan, meaning ito yung best case.
Yes.
It's not the name of the plan.
No, but it's being discussed seriously.
Dream Plan. Yun talaga yung tawag sa kanya.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so itong Dream Plan, are you saying that if we're able to achieve the 5 of those things at
Then
as soon as possible time, our
Yes.
traffic situation will improve?
Yes, sir.
So, ito, pinag-aralan to ng MMDA, DOTC,
DPWH.
and DPWH.
With JICA.
With JICA. So,
Yes.
is this the JICA study that,
Yes, sir.
this is part of the output of the JICA study that was done on our traffic situation?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay. Now, may mga timelines ba tayo with regard to each of these
Yes, sir.
items?
Opo. Nandito nga po naka-itemize dito. So, the next map. The next slide, which is...
No, if I can just give me, yes, next slide please. So,
Okay.
kunyari, yung expressways, 426 kilometers, this is within the National Capital Region.
That's right, sir. That can also go beyond Metro Manila, no?
Can you just give us a sampling? Kunyari po, by 2015, how many of that 426 should be accomplished?
By 2015, like for example, is it the kasali ba dyan yung, Skyway Stage 3? Hindi pa siya, no? Oo, hindi pa ho kasama pa ng Skyway Stage 3 dito.
Or kunyari, just as as an example, for 2016,
Ano pwede natin ibigay kay Senator? Itong sa short term?
sige, sa short term.
Opo. The one that, saan ba tayo, sir? Expressways, this is the Anghari SLEX Link Toll Road. We have the NLEX SLEX connectors.
Okay.
We have the NAIA Expressway is being done now, actually. The Kala Expressway, stages 1 and 2.
Mhm.
The CLX phase, La Paz, Tarlac, Cabanatuan. And then we have the Calamba, Los Baños Expressway. C6 Extension, Lakeshore Dike Road.
Okay, Yusek, all of those, kasi 2015 yan, no?
Yes, sir.
Some of those alam ko na budget na, tsaka
Yes, right.
sinisimulan na.
That's right.
Are all of those budgeted items or at least PPP items? Lahat po ng mga na-mention din nyo?
Most of these have been budgeted.
Okay.
I know. Committed na po. Nakalagay nga dito sa status committed
Okay.
already.
For 2016, and you may actually present this next time, no? We
Yes,
would
sir.
like to know,
Yes, sir.
of the
How it
2016
will
plans,
go.
how many of those are budgeted, committed, may PPP, okay? I mean, all of those items. Because this is the budget season now.
That's
Ngayon
right.
yung panahon na mapondohan yan. And we want to see this moving, no? We want to be able to check year on year
Mhm.
what needs to be done. In fact, that's spaced out across 10 years, if I'm not mistaken? More.
More than.
More
Up to
than, no?
20, in fact, 2030, no?
Oh, what was the constraint in terms of front-loading the projects? Why can't we do most of it next year, this year and next year? Is it a
there are
budget
some,
issue?
yeah, budget issue po. So there are some, kasi PPP projects din po yung iba nito. Yung iba naman, the NEDA has already approved them. So if you will take a look at this list, no, from roads to expressway, other roads, railways, roadways, public transport, most of it have been committed actually. Opo.
Okay.
So may parang, sabi nga natin, as we say in dream nga, we hope to accomplish all of them
Oho, but
based
we-
on the commitments that have
Okay.
been done.
Sorry for the pun, but we want to
Yes.
make this dream into a reality, no?
Yes,
So,
that's right.
we don't, ako nga,
Sorry.
ba kasi some dreams don't come true, no? So, what I want to see is how do we make this dream into a reality, no? Senator JV and I, we have terms until 2019, no? Pareho kaming pumasok. So, at least for the next 4 years, pwede talaga mabantayan na nangyayari yan, di ba? And, you know, we don't want to come to a situation again where something was decided in 2012, then 4 years later or 3 years later, wala pa ring locations, di ba? We want to make sure that each step is really accomplished, no? So maybe in the next hearing when Secretary Francis, Chairman Francis is here, he can show us ano ba yung mga pwedeng ma-accomplish this year, ano yung pwedeng ma-accomplish next year, and also to explain why the reason for spacing it out to 2030. Kasi baka naman some of those we can already do. I think this is a priority, especially for NCR, no?
Right, sir. Do we have other slides to show? Ito lang po yung construction of the Skyway Stage 3, no? Whereas before, medyo maluwag po ang traffic, pinapakita lang namin that during, of course, congested na po dyan sa area na yan. The other one that's being done is the NAIA Expressway. Ganito ho dati, during construction, talagang magkakaroon na rin ng traffic.
Ayusek, question lang. Doon sa yung Skyway that would link North and NLEX and SLEX, anong percentage po tayo ngayon? Completion. Para lang alam na po natin.
Okay, the NAIA Expressway 3, the one that goes to all the airport. I would like to thank DPWH is here.
Pwedeng si ano?
Nandito po ang
Miss
DPWH
Kinilaw.
yata. Opo.
Of the projects that was that were the projects that were mentioned by USEC, no, yung Daang Hari ho, tapos na ho yun. It was open this May, and around, nung nag-open ho, 10,000 vehicles na ho yung dumadaan doon. So at least nag-ease na yung traffic in that area, sa Alabang Philinvest area. And for those who are also going to Cavite. Yung isa naman, ang susunod na ho na project dyan na matatapos is NAIA Expressway. Supposedly this November, matatapos na yung the two exits that would connect Terminal 3 and Terminal 1 and 2 into Makati and into Rojas Boulevard. Nakakaroon lang ho ng problema sa right-of-way acquisition, especially on the utilities. But ang target po niyan is matapos ho yung NAIA Expressway by April of next year. Yung Calax naman po na na-mention din ni USEC, nagkaroon na ho ng bid submission noong about 4 or 5 months ago. And hopefully by next year ho, mag-umpisa na rin ho yung groundbreaking. You ask, Mr. Chair, kung bakit ho matatagal in this space over a period of 10 years. Matagal ho talaga kasi yung gestation periods of infrastructure projects. And even in the traffic management, kasi ngayon sabay-sabay na yung mga infrastructure projects, hindi ho sila makatrabaho ng full blast because hindi naman ho makadaan yung mga sasakyan.
So you're saying na hindi rin pwede pagsabay-sabay kasi susobra naman yung traffic. So, kumbaga, minamanage yung implementation with the effect on the traffic situation.
Yes, sir. Especially during construction. Kaya ho, sa lahat ho ng infrastructure project, lalo na ho pag PPP, hinihingan din ho namin yung private partner ng traffic management plan and they coordinate with MMDA for that.
And for the record, before we continue, Miss Canilaw, yung interchange sa Alabang, no, which was recently inaugurated, it's a PPP. That's the first PPP project.
Sir.
So, after 5 years, yun ang pinakauna. It's only 4 kilometers, right?
Yun ho yung unang natapos after 5. Matagal ho talaga. Nagkaroon din ho ng problema doon, sir, on the right-of-way acquisition. Kaya nga ho yung right-of-way acquisition law ina-amend ho ngayon to make it easier for the implementation of projects, sir.
So, we can expect na all of this, yung skyway sa NAIA, yung within 2 years, expressway.
Yung NAIA Expressway matatapos ho by next year. Pending ho sa mga issues namin ngayon with the right-of-way acquisition.
Okay, please continue.
Wala na po. That's the last slide. I just wanted, as I said, 6 slides lang po yung aming preparation. Yeah.
Yes, Yusek. Just like to ask, kasi EDSA is the main artery of Metro Manila at yun yung pinaka-main problem ngayon na halos hindi umuusad. When I was chair of Metro Manila Development Committee in the House, there was already discussion, no, that all of the bus terminals will be phased out sa EDSA kasi talagang it causes traffic. No, yung pag-back out, pag-back up, pagpasok ng bus. We have about, ilan ba ang doon? Ilan ba ang bus terminal sa
We have 80,
sa along EDSA?
44 po. 44 terminals. But within Metro Manila, we have 85.
So yung 44, ano po nangyari doon sa phase-out plan?
Ganito po yun, kasi pag natapos po yung North and South na sinasabi nating integrated terminals, transport terminals, doon po dapat sila ma-house.
So hanggat hindi natutuloy yung integrated terminals, hindi natin maisasara. So yung North, naghahanap pala ng lupa. Yung South, halos not in the next 3 years, no? Mukhang nasa pa rin. So, the problem is, our economy is growing. Our population is growing. Yung 5 years, mula 2010, malaking bagay na yun. Noong 2010, nasa house pa ako, hindi pa matraffic. Ngayon, matraffic na. So, nakakalungkot. I don't know how we'll do. We just want to know up to when we will be able to put this in place. No, kahit mailatag man lang. Yan ang gusto namin marinig eh. So hanggang malaman namin, hanggang kailan, tayong lahat, maapekto ng traffic. Of course, it's our economy. We're losing 2.4 billion a day because of traffic. And I'm sure all of the representatives of the chambers will agree with me that one of the main reasons why foreign direct investors are not going to the Philippines is because of the weak infrastructure. Diba? At this point, can the chair hear from either Mr. Michael Ruber or Mr. Schumacher of European Chamber?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Ejercito and Senator Aquino. Surely the private sector and its employees are suffering profoundly because of the worsening traffic situation in Metro Manila, and not only Metro Manila but other cities as well. Welcomes this hearing, trusting that we can jointly improve the situation. I also recall our discussions. Yeah. I also recall our discussion on the port congestion, which cost the economy and its players billions. Certainly, to answer your question, obviously the lack of infrastructure and all the problems around the lack of infrastructure. And today we are particularly discussing the issue on traffic in Metro Manila. Does have a profound effect on the willingness of capital to come in and investors to put their money in the Philippines. These problems have to be resolved, and they are important. I will cut my presentation a bit short, as I just want to answer your question, and then continue later with some statements which we have to solve the problems more in the short term, because what I have heard so far are long-ranging plans. But I think there are also a few short-term solutions which we can address immediately to alleviate the situation.
On that note, Mr. Chairman, if I may ask Yusek Jimenez and Mr. Fajardo, alam ko today is the first day of the HPG, no, and that's a joint. This experiment, it's in the papers. It's called an experiment, no, but this activity or these operations is joint MMDA and PNP, if I'm not mistaken, Yusek, no?
Sa 6 choke points lang po ang HPG. So we also help out in between, no? In the, especially today, what happened is all provincial buses coming from Cubao will have to do a turn at Pituason at C5 na po sila dapat dumaan. Hindi na sa EDSA.
Sige, for the benefit of our countrymen who may not have read about it in the papers, no, but if you could tell us again, number one, lahat ng provincial buses naka-reroute sa C5.
From 6 o'clock to 9 a.m. So may ano lang po yun kasi magre-reklamo din po ang ating provincial buses. So the other one is of course yung panghuhuli po, may ticket na po ang HPG. So, binigyan po namin sila ng ticket. So, anyone who violates, sila na po yung magtiticket niyan. So,
ano ho yung mga violations usually na ginagawa?
1, you are a colorum. 2, serving po. Yung mga serving, tapos lalo sa choke points, you know, you don't know your lanes, no? Especially for buses na nasa yellow lane lang dapat po sila. So this is one thing they are looking at now, na dapat nandyan sila sa lane nila.
So right now, what you're doing is basically, and I'll ask Mr. Fajardo to also speak later, no?
Yes,
it's
sir.
basically enforcement of the
Okay.
proper traffic regulations and the rerouting of the provincial buses.
Yes, sir.
And we're hoping that this activity will lessen the traffic. Meron na ho ba kayong target na X% of traffic or time that will be decreased because of these activities?
Ito po yung pinag-uusapan ngayon ni
Or
Secretary.
remains to be seen, no?
Yes,
So,
yes, that's right.
Okay. So we would like to... So basically, nangyayari, we're gonna try this first. Kung gumana na siya, we will continue to do it.
Yes.
Kung hindi pa siya gumana, then we can do other
initiatives that should be put back, like we are talking about an even scheme, yung ating window na 10 to 3, kasi may window pa ho, ano, yung sa number coding natin, a modified number coding. The other one would be, ano pa ba yung pwede nating pinag-uusapan?
Isang narinig ko po yung parang kailangan puno yung kotse para ho
Ayun,
lumarga sa mga rush hour.
Opo.
The carpooling.
Yung
carpooling, no?
Yes, yes. So, yung mga netizens po, meron tinatawag na app, no? App friend na they can do carpooling. And then, of course, we're looking also at the number of yung tinatawag natin mga Uber at saka yung Grab cars or Grab taxis. So, I was asking how many of these are already on the road that have been given franchise. And Basta tinitignan po namin kung saan pa pwede talagang ang netizen mismo will be the one to say, okay, I'll be disciplined. I will follow the lane. I will not swerve left and right kasi doon ho talaga nakikita. Ako, I travel all the way from Muntinlupa, but it's quick for us because of the Skyway. It takes us 20 minutes only, no, to get to the office. So, but anyway, sa nakikita ko po, disiplina talaga din is the number one
So,
solution.
kailangan ho ng cooperation mula sa mga taong bayan, no?
Opo.
Okay. Sir, before you ask, I'd like to give lang Mr. Fajardo some time. Would you care to comment or add to what Yusek Jimenez had mentioned already?
Ay, sir, sorry po na ibang sector po kasi yung sa police and public safety. Sa local government sector po ako nung DILG. So, I don't think I can...
Sige, so sa LGO ka naman, tanungin ko na rin, kadalasan no, yung isang complaint ng mga motorists natin and of course the people who are driving is that in between MMDA, may mga LGU na nagtitiket. Are we facing that out o tuloy pa rin yun?
Sir, depende sa road kung saan sila natikitan, sir. Kasi,
On EDSA? On EDSA, do we have anyone
no,
from the LGUs on EDSA?
Meron po tayo. Okay, one of the choke points is EDSA, Pasay. So, meron po tayo diyang Pasay enforcers. Pagdating po natin sa Makati, merong Makati enforcers. Pagdating natin sa Ortigas, Mandaluyong naman po ang...
Nakakatulong po ba yun o nakakagulo?
Medyo confusing lang po.
Okay, confusing kung nakakatulong o nakakagulo.
Hindi, confused lang po ang publiko sino ang susundin, ang MMDA ba o yung lokal.
O ngayon may HPG pa.
Opo.
So
ngayon, HPG na lang ang nandun sa choke points na yun. So
I see.
sila nang bahalang mag-usap
so that's
dyan po.
the third element of today.
Yes.
Yung HPG po natin in the choke points, sila na ngayon yung namamahala dyan.
Opo.
So will we still find LGU representatives in the choke points? O
Well,
hindi na po?
that's one of the questions that was posed to me by the HPG nung nagkakaroon po sila ng training sa MMDA. So sabi namin, kailangan may usapan kayo with the local government. Sila na po yung makikipag-usap.
Per choke point.
Per choke point. Kasi yun ang teritoryo nila po ngayon, ano? Ang HPG.
Okay. Let's ask Mr. Fajardo, since LGU ho kayo, nakakatulong ba, nakakagulo yung LGU enforcers sa mga choke points?
Depende, sir, kasi meron din namang areas or choke points na mas nakakatulong din yung may LGU na representative, sir. So, I'll try to ask our field office, sir, sa NCR. Kasi sa
sige.
central office ako, sir.
Yan yung mga sagot na ayaw ni Chairman Eres ito eh, di ba?
Pasensya na po, sir.
Sige. Sa next hearing, maybe we can have a better briefing on what the LGU enforcers will do. I think, in fairness naman to them, yung mga roads inside the cities and municipalities, definitely,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
you were a mayor before, di ba? Yun
Yes,
talaga
sir.
yung ganon. But pagdating sa major national highways, no, it should be very clear what rules we're following and who we're following, no?
Yes,
Do you agree, Mr. Fajardo?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Before the chair would like to recognize Attorney Hines of LTFRB. Meron din mga konting katanungan. Yusek Jimenez, maganda ho itong Dream Project. No? Is this a collaboration by DPWH, DOTC? NEDA ba kasama dito?
Yes, sir. Definitely. Some of those have been approved and funded.
And PPP
in fact,
probably,
approved by the
no?
President. Opo.
PPP probably is part of this. Ang problema lang, itong dream na to mukhang magiging dream na lang.
No, sir. There are some projects naman talagang nagagawa.
No, the reason why we wanted the Centobam file this resolution, we want to know where the problem is coming from. No? Kasi as I mentioned, 5 years ago, I could remember already all of these things that were discussed already. Hanggang ngayon, plano pa rin. 5 years after. And that time, how many cars, how many buses ang nadagdag, yung population natin. So yung 5 years na yun, naku, napakalaki na ng backlog na natin yun. Diba? So, I don't, at the rate we are going, yung dream project will always be a dream. At the rate all of these agencies are moving. So I'm sorry to say, but 5 years ago, as far as I can remember, I already heard about all of this. Yung mga terminals pa lang. Yan, yung integrated transport system, I was already in the House. 2011, 2012, pinag-usapan na natin yan. Hanggang ngayon, maghahanap pa rin tayo ng lupa. Di ba? So, sige, we can go on. Attorney Ines.
Thank you, Senator Ejercito, Senator Aquino. In the meeting of the concerned departments and agencies with the President, Your Honors, what the policy that was agreed upon insofar as these initial actions are concerned is, sa EDSA po, is maximum people throughput along EDSA. So it means that it was all agreed upon and we are all united that we will maximize the movement of people from point A to point B of EDSA. We will not give priority. We will give priority to high capacity volume vehicles like, of course, the MRT is there. But in the despite this MRT problem, we have to maximize. The next alternative, sir, is the buses. And this policy is based also on the latest data from MMDA. When we met, we were informed that as of August 14, on the day of August 14 po, the trips per car of all cars is 253,000. So yun po yung lahat ng mga dumaan sa EDSA from on a 24-hour basis. Then out of that total trips per day, 13,374 is the number of buses. Trips po yun, hindi po yung number of units. So ibig sabihin po, mayroon pong mga umikot na mga buses doon. Based on this estimation po nung nila Secretary Singson, Chairman Tulin, and all the others, sila Sec Almentras, we believe, sir, that more or less about 2,000, 2,500 buses are the ones that are moving along EDSA at any time of the day. Now, the first that was agreed upon to be strictly implemented will be the yellow lane.
Attorney Menes, sorry to cut you. Attorney Hines, sorry. Ilan po ang at present operator ng base sa EDSA? Again, for the record. And how many units? Yung bus operators ng EDSA line.
For city buses, we have 3,385 units po ng EDSA. For EDSA. And for provincial buses that are passing through EDSA, we have 8,471. But these numbers, sir, are LTFRB numbers of authorized units. Ibig sabihin, ito po yung base sa record namin that are supposed to be running on EDSA. But there was this study po na in relation to the BRT EDSA that was conducted by a consultant of the OTC. And what they counted is that there's only 1,500 buses actually running on EDSA. Yung po yung aming nire-reconcile, as well as there's also a data from MMDA, yung mga total dispatch units po nila from the different dispatching centers of MMDA. And nasa mga 2,000, 2,500. So, these are the numbers that all the agencies are reconciling in order for us to have a common data.
Chairman, sorry, ulitin ko lang. So, ang data natin is that there's 2,500 currently on the road on EDSA. But then another group said there's only 1,500. So, that's ang laki ho ng difference nun. That's 1,000 buses. Kasi you'd expect na mas maraming umiikot kesa yung authorized because of the colorum. But if that data is true, then there's actually less than authorized?
Yes, sir. That's what the data, the actual count that was done on an actual survey that was done by a consultant of the OTC preparing the feasibility study for the BRT EDSA.
How do we explain that that there are less authorized buses on the road than there are permits? Of course, may colorum pa rin doon, di ba? So, even less pa siguro yung authorized ng LTFRB na umikot. Tama ba? Kasi parang counterintuitive yung people would expect that there are more buses than that is authorized. What we're saying is it's actually about half. No, so how did that happen?
Sir, ang explanation po doon is the number of coding of buses lessens the number of authorized units. So that's 20% reduction already. And then also, yun pong mga phased out units nila that have not been substituted will also affect the number of authorized buses. Then 10% maybe nasa garahe po for repairs or maintenance.
Okay.
So,
Question ho, how many buses do we need to fulfill the needs of our commuters?
Sir, for us, the number of buses are still inadequate as of now. No, ang tingin po namin, yung mga number of city buses that are plying our EDSA route right now are still inadequate, and so we have made a proposal actually to leave the number coding insofar as EDSA buses are concerned to accommodate. Kaya po natin makikita, sabi nga po ng Pangulo doon sa meeting, na nakikita rin po mismo niya, tayo po rin, ako po nagnasa biyahe, ang dami pong mga nakapila at nakatayong
That's
mga
right.
Filipino commuters along EDSA during rush hour sa umaga at saka sa hapon. Na-occupy na po nila hanggang doon sa second lane, naghahabol ng mga buses. Of course, admittedly, between the non-peak hours, marami po yung mga half-full na mga buses din natin.
So, okay. So, what we're saying is, kulang yung mga bus for our commuters during rush hour. Kasi it's the same. Pagdating din sa MRT, pagkahaba-haba rin ang pila, di ba? So, we're looking at possibly increasing the number of buses. Now, it goes back to my first question. How many buses do we actually need to be able to satisfy our commuters? Mr. Swansing, kung gusto ho nyo. Parang may discussion tayong ganito about trucks before, di ba? During the fourth congestion. It's the same question.
During our time, there was this JICA study.
Opo, sige.
We need, for EDSA alone, for EDSA alone, we only need around 1,000 units. Ang magandang tanong ho sa ngayon, yung present number ng buses natin is almost 2,000 plus yan eh. Ilan ang may-ari?
Okay.
Doon tayo nagkakagulo eh. Because noong panahon namin, binilang namin ang may-ari niyan. Mga around 113
Okay.
ang may-ari nung around 2,500 na buses.
Okay, teka lang ha. Before we get to that, because I think that's
Yes.
another point, no? Just to go back to my first point. Do we know kung ilan buses ang kailangan natin to fulfill the needs of our commuters?
At the time when JICA...
Right now.
Right now, siguro mga 1,500 is sufficient. Makaikot sila na maayos.
Ako, maybe what we can do, Chairman Hines, is baka dapat linisin na natin yung 2,500 authorized. Kasi sabi nyo nga, yung iba doon phased out na. Yung iba doon, well, definitely yung 20% ng ad even, you can count that naman. But once you bring that down, then you get to wonder, enough na ba yan for commuters? Then maybe you need to release more franchises, no? But maybe, attorney, just going back lang, parang counterintuitive kasi na kukonti yung traffic kung rumami yung buses. Parang it just doesn't, like for me as a layman, and again, kayo ho ni Layusek are, I mean, this is really your work, no? But hindi ho ba mas makaka-traffic kung dumami yung buses?
Ang dapat po makaikot ng gusto yung buses. Ang dapat po kasi natin korekin ngayon, yung sinasabi ko po yung around 2,500 buses na yan, 113 operators ang pinag-uusapan natin.
Okay.
No? Hindi pa ho natin binibilang do sa 113 operators na merong mga nakasabsab, yung mga kabit-kabit.
Oho.
So, imagine niyo yung lahat ng 113 operators na yan, sabay-sabay nilang finifield yung mga buses nila.
At sabay-sabay nagko-compete sa mga
Sabay-sabay
daan.
nagko-compete sa
So
daan.
are you saying that there should be less owners of buses?
Yes, it has to be revolutionary, no? For a metropolitan area like us, compare niyo sa Hong Kong, no? Sa Hong Kong ho, dalawa lang ho ang bus company roon.
Ang alam ko ho is that pwedeng magkakaibang may-ari kung iba-iba yung rota.
Yes.
Di ba?
Oo,
Pero in
oo.
the same route, usually there's just one or
Dapat
two
isa lang
owners.
ang yes.
Oh,
So,
does the LTFRB have powers to, kasi it's a regulated industry, di ba? Do you have powers to push for that consolidation, Attorney Hines?
Yes, sir. We have power under our charter, no? But gusto ko pong balikan yung kanina, no? One of the, sa tingin po namin ng mga transport specialists on our regulatory agency, that one of the myths is that more buses in EDSA will mean more traffic. Hindi po ganoon ang aming pananaw. Because kailangan po nating i-prioritize. Sabi nga po namin, maximum people throughput. Bigyan natin ng mas maraming masasakyan, ang mas nakakarami nating mga... ang key po rito is, kung mapaikot po ng mabilis through strict enforcement, implementation po ng yellow lane, ay talagang makakaikot ng marami yung mga buses po natin. So, ibig sabihin po nun, we can actually accommodate yung mga number of city buses, even 2,000, than what is actually running right now.
Attorney Ines, at present, no, based on what you said, there are about 3,385 city buses na may franchise. 8,000 yung provincial buses. Pero according to study, ang capacity ng EDSA is only 1,800. Di ba? Tama? O 1,600.
Based on JICA study.
Based on JICA study, 1,600 lang. Pero what you're saying is, kulang pa ang franchise. Di ba meron tayong moratorium sa ngayon? Do we have a moratorium?
Well, sir, yung insofar as provincial buses are concerned, not all of them are at the same time nasa EDSA po. Most of them are out of Metro Manila. And so ang concentration po talaga nung count are the EDSA city buses. So kung...
But we're already double our capacity based on JICA's study. 1,600 against 3,385 at present. So paano masasabing kulang pa rin?
Well, sir, itong implementation of the yellow lane now will tell us kung the number of city buses that are running right now is sufficient, or kung talagang puno na po yung yellow lane at hindi na talaga madadagdagan pa, then adding more units by lifting the number coding would not be a good idea. Pero kung it will show that meron pang pwede pang punuan, then it can be, kung pwede pa ho, para talagang may masakyan ng ating mga kababayan.
Chairman, no, before you say Cassis, no, Chairman, I'm trying to understand kasi yung logic na pag dumami yung buses, mas bibilis yung traffic. Is it right to say na nagda-traffic kasi mabagal yung pag-load ng mga tao kasi hindi enough yung mga buses natin? Yun yung nakapagda-traffic. Tama ba? Is that it? So if there are more buses, mas mabilis yung pag-ikot ng pagsakay at pagbaba ng tao, and therefore mas dadalo yung yellow lane. Is that the logic there?
Sir, the logic of the yellow lane is to devote it exclusively for public utility buses, except those private cars that will turn left or turn right. So yan po ngayon yung ating pinapatupad po ngayon sa EDSA. So dadami po, bibilis po sir yung kanilang turnaround ng mga buses, and that will enable our mga pasahero po natin na mas madami silang masasakyan. And so but it will, this experience sir will tell us now, dahil HPG is there to implement, and of course MMDA and all of us are there right now, and this 1 week will tell us kung this theory of whether the public buses is the cause of the traffic or not will be validated, sir.
Okay. Yusek
Cassis?
While the total volume of EDSA right now is twice as much as its design capacity, if you have 2 dedicated lane for buses, iba po yung picture, hindi po yung 10 lanes. We just look at the two lanes, the capacity of a lane, yung sinasabi ng JICA, ang ginagamit po namin 1,500, is 1,500 cars per hour, per lane, per direction. Ang equivalent po ng isang bus, between 2.5 na kotse o 3. Kung gamitin po natin ng 3, ang ibig sabihin, ang capacity ng isang bus lane is 500 buses per hour per lane. So kung dalawa po yun, ang capacity niya 1,000. But what restricts the free flow of traffic are the choke points, which come in the form of intersections, bus stops, obstructions, diggings, and others. So we could actually maintain that volume of traffic. Kung 1,500 nga lang po yun, ibig sabihin, 750 dito, 750. Hindi po kulang yung capacity ng bus lanes kung dedicated siya at properly manage yung choke points. Ang problema po, hindi natin na-manage na maayos yung choke points, kaya yung actual design capacity po ay nababawasan.
Yusek, yung 500 per lane per hour is at what speed? Anong speed po yung how do you call this? What speed does that connote?
Mga 20 to 30 kph po.
Wow, 20 to 30 lang. Okay, so kung 750 yan, that goes down to 10 to 15. No, more or less, no? The mathematics, di ba?
Di po, yung 500 po per lane. Kaya yung 2 lanes po, 1,000 actually.
Yes, but per lane is 20 to 30 kph. If we're gonna load it with 750 instead of 500, then your speed will probably half also kasi dumagdag kayo ng 50%, di
Di
ba?
po, 750 divided by 2 pa ho kasi. Kasi yung 500 po, isang lane lang.
Oo.
Kung 2 lanes po, magiging 1,000 po
Okay.
yung capacity ng bus.
Okay. So, meaning it will go even lower because it should only be for 500 and yet we have to load it with 750 kasi 1,500 yung kailangan umikot.
Kaya
So, mas
po
mabagal
yung
pa.
Tinatanong po niyo kung dadagdagan yung bus, kung magkakagulo lalo. Kung yung limitation po natin ganon at maganda po yung management ng choke points, it should not. It should not.
Okay, so basically you're saying hindi pa kayo completely sold dun sa pagdami nung buses.
Di ba? Yung sa demand supply ng buses, what I'm saying is yung capacity, kaya pa ho. Kaya
Okay.
pa ho.
Okay.
So, kasi nga, we're following yung paradigm shift na sa halip na pabilisin yung flow ng vehicles, bigyan po natin ng priority yung nakasakay sa public utilities dahil this represent about 80%
Yes.
ng total passenger volume.
Okay.
Yung 20% po na
kotse.
pasahero, nando dun sa 80% ng traffic volume, yun yung private. Baliktad po.
I see.
Ganun po yung nangyayari. Kaya po yung priority natin is to move people. Yung 80% po ang i-move natin, hindi yung 20%.
So you agree na increasing the buses could actually lessen the traffic?
Sa pagdating po dito sa 3 lanes, not necessarily. Pero pagdating po dito sa objective natin, to move more people,
Okay.
ma-achieve po natin yan.
Okay.
And probably, siguro, Mr. Senator no? Siguro with the 3,385 buses, probably it's already enough. Kaya siguro hindi lang makaikot. Yun ang problema. Tama. Yun ang problema Hindi siya makaikot agad. Kasi nga, because of the congestion. So, palagay ko yun ang problema. Kasi nung nasa house pa tayo, si Tornines, we were already thinking of plans on how to minimize. Tanggalin yung colorum, tanggalin yung mga kabit, tanggalin yung mga buntis, no? Na tinatawag. We were already trying to remove all of these illegal public utility vehicles to lessen the traffic. Pero ngayon, dahil nga sa pagkulang sa ikot, parang nagkukulang. So, yun ang sinasabi naman ni Chairman Hines. Before we continue, Senator Pacina, PIDS has a short presentation, please, bago tayo mag-wrap up.
Well, just to add to the talk earlier, we may be blaming the bus sector too much. We have 70% of all the commuters within Metro Manila as public commuters, and they are riding in less than 20% of the available vehicles that we have. So, could somebody assist in? Yes, wala po. Or do you have a clicker?
So, Secretariat, sino ba?
Thank you.
Can you please assist?
Thank you. Okay. What I'm going to present is actually part of a competition policy study that we did last year. We touched on traffic congestion as one of the main issues, hindering the growth or the optimal benefits from the bus sector. Right. So that's just a short intro for this. Let's look at the bright side. Everything that we're experiencing now is actually a byproduct of economic development within the Greater Manila region, Greater Capital Area. So that's good. We have more people, more economic activity, more financing for development. Now, let's go back to that previous slide, please. So Metro Manila alone has 12 million people at 191 persons per hectare, very high density. We've got 1 to 5,000 kilometers of road infrastructure, covering 16 cities, 1 municipality, 620 square kilometers of land area. So for that, we've got inter and intra-city transport, your rails, your buses, other PUVs, private cars. Next, please. The questions earlier about numbers is a bit summarized in this slide. So you've got there a very low motorization, average of 9 cars per 1,000 people. So there are 10 million person trips per day, 70% of which are done by PUVs, 30% by private cars. Road network, 1 to 5,000 kilometers within Metro Manila, 13,700 accidents, 10% of which buses account for. We've got 1,122 operators and 12,595 buses operating within Metro Manila. Now, these include the provincial buses just passing through Metro Manila. So the bus market structure, as indexed, is substantially competitive. So there is substantial competition within that sector. Poverty-wise, 28% nationally and 6% Metro Manila. Next, please. Okay. The question earlier about whether we have substantial... Next, the previous slide, please. The question earlier about whether we have substantial numbers on our roads in terms of buses, in terms of other vehicles. Well, you see here that some studies actually say that we've got an excess of bus capacity plying our Metro Manila streets. So the average speed is actually 16 to 19 kilometers per hour. So very, very slow within EDSA. So there is excess capacity, as we all know. Next, please. Regulatory-wise, we've got LTFRB, LTO, and then MMDA, PNPLGUs for the management and transport regulations. Next, please. Just to give you a screenshot of how everything evolved from the 1936 Public Service Law to what we have now, which was actually started in 1987. Next, please. All right, next. Next, please. So what we did was to actually complement some of the studies that we've gone through before. So we did a small cost-benefit analysis just to get a sense of what we are losing. And what we did was different from what the other agencies did, because we just concentrated on the super corridor within EDSA, a very, very short stretch of properties, 12 kilometers just along EDSA, the most busy stretch of road. Next, please. So that's it, the super corridor. This is the framework for the analysis. What we want is for traffic managers to move traffic flows to optimal rates, considering the marginal social costs of congestion. Next, please. Okay. This is from another study. And you can see here the actual bus trips, the actual daily passenger volume as well, northbound and southbound, within the super corridor, the 12-kilometer stretch of highway. So in total, we've got so much, more than 30 bus trips in aggregate. We require for that stretch of land around 26,000. And so we have an excess bus trip of around 6,700 within that 12-kilometer stretch. So just a case study for the whole of the superstructure there. Next, please. A graphic illustration of our seat capacity. So you can see there the yellow blocked bar shows you an excess in seat capacity as approved. Next, please. Okay, those are bus trips given timelines within the day. So as you know, there are peak times within the day where you need more buses, more vehicles plying the streets, and probably those are the times when you have the greatest amount of traffic. Next, please. Okay, next, please. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. All right, next slide, please. So, in essence, we computed the cost of this congestion for just the bus transport sector. So, all the other estimates that you've read or you've heard actually accounted for the whole of Metro Manila. But this estimate accounts for just that super corridor. So, next, please. And you'll see there around 5.5, around 6 billion a year being lost by commuters due to delays in time and also excess run for the motors. Next, please. All right, that's the summary. Marginal social cost. We've got very good frameworks. We've got very good plans, national plans, and one of those was mentioned, the JICA study done with our major institutions. That is actually quite a very comprehensive study and very, very good to implement. And so we also have the Philippine Development Plan. We have a National Transport Plan, OSAID assisted in 2010. And you've got a position paper from the OTC for Bus Rapid Transit Plan. Next, please. The JICA the dream plan being asked earlier actually shows you this. For the short term, given the timeline they have during the launching of that plan, 2014, 2016, they needed 520 billion for the short term. Next, please. And if you're going for the long-term investment, then you will need around $65.3 billion. So we probably need to invest, give more money for this undertaking, and especially the political support to implement this. Next, please. Lessons for policy. We really have too many vehicles plying the streets. Okay, we have very limited road networks. We have too many vehicles. And if you're talking about the bus sector, we have unfettered sector evolution over the years. From the 1970s, wherein you had a very regulated sector, now it's really a bit chaotic. So many operators, so many vehicles plying the streets. And if you're going to look at demand and supply side of everything, then there are discrepancies. Okay, inadequate regulatory enforcement, maybe one of those to be looked at if you're looking at congestion problems. Okay, regulatory bodies as institutional reincarnates, as I've flashed earlier, you've got from 1930 law up to 1987, changes in the institutional structures within that sector. Okay, for the short term, we really have to optimize vehicular flow, and probably having those HPGs in those choke points is a good start. It's a good way to do this. Enforcement, be more strict in enforcing traffic policy. And for the long term would be to give the much needed resource and political support for this undertaking. Next, please. Okay, for the bus sector, we need organization. You have too many operators. You have to talk to key people, and the only way to do that efficiently is to have an organized sector. Look into the welfare of drivers and conductors. The previous practice of having that boundary for the day is really, really bad for local workers. They have to fight for every single passenger in the street. So that adds to the chaos, the traffic, even the hazards. So enforce policy and harmonize sectoral plans, that would be our main long-term policy goal. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Senator Domingo Piedez. Senator Mamakina, some few queries.
Yeah, just to, we're almost hitting 3 o'clock rin. Sabi namin mabilis lang, pero umabot rin ng 3 o'clock kasi napakayaman ng diskusyonan, no? And Mr. Chairman, I hope we can have a second one, no, with the agency heads. But I'd just like to read some comments from Twitter, from Facebook, and from text messages. First question, who is responsible for the safety? And I hope we can just answer quickly, no, kasi we're being live tweeted also. Which agency is responsible for the safety of commuters? Sino ho ba? Safety of commuters. Is it the MMDA? Is it the police? Is it LTFRB?
Police.
Primarily, it should be LTO because we're talking of vehicles. Then, if we're talking of public utility vehicles, LTFRB.
So yung safety ho ng commuters natin is LTFRB?
Yes, sir.
Alright. O sige, next question. Nagsuggest po si Emong Maton, I don't know kung ito yung totoong pangalan niya, from Facebook. Dapat daw bawal na yung nakatayo sa bus. Kasi mas tumatagal na nakapark yung bus sa kalsada. Kailangan kapag puno na, dire-diretso na ang biyahe. Bawal nga ba ang nakatayo?
Yes, sir. Bawal po yung overloading, but we see every rush hour po talagang punong-puno. This is a manifestation po talaga na kulang yung mga bus po.
So, technically, overloaded ka na kung nakatayo na yung mga tao sa bus. Technically.
Yes.
Okay, and you're saying na kung dumami yung mga bus, dapat wala na nakatayo kasi sapat na yung mga bus.
Dumami at mapabilis, sir, ang flow.
Okay, sabi ni Rolando Lopez, Senator Bam, kami po ay laging sa bus sumasakay. Bakit di munang subukan alisin ang mga illegal terminal sa mismong kalsada? Example, EDSA Corner Taft. Tingnan niyo ang jeep dyan, mga tricycle na sumasalungat sa EDSA. Sa tapat ng SM Save More, may terminal dyan ng mga UV van. Nakatangalan daw ang mga traffic enforcer. Sa Buendia Corner Taft, grabe ang illegal terminal dyan, lalo na sa gabi. Walang traffic kung walang illegal, may traffic kung may illegal. Yun po sana yung silipin, traffic enforcer na kotong at mga illegal na terminal. Illegal terminals po, do you have any comments?
Yes, there are some actually. That's true. Pero ngayon po ang usapan, it would be the HPG, especially at EDSA.
So,
We'll do that.
ito hong concern ni Mr. Lopez, ito talaga yung tinututukan ng HPG.
Yes, sir.
O sige, maybe just as a final one, make a double-decker bus so we can minimize the count of the bus. Ban the jeepney that has only 8 below seating capacity. Make an order that jeepney should have at least 12 seating capacity so we can also minimize the count of the jeepney. Encourage carpooling, etc., etc. From John Robles. Double-decker bus, may nagmumungkahi, Attorney Hines. Wala bang wala pang nag-suggest ng double-decker bus sa atin?
May limitation, sir, yung mga underpass natin. I believe hindi po yata kasya. That's why yung double-decker ng one of the malls, sa taas po dumadaan, hindi po sa ilalim.
I see. So because of our overpasses, hindi tayo pwede mag-double-decker.
Underpass po, Senator.
As underpass yung
Yes.
problema. Okay, sabi ho ni Miss Bongkan from Twitter, if you reroute provincial buses to C5, how will it affect traffic when people go to work? Ito ba'y, baka naman sa C5 lumipat lahat ng traffic?
Sir, quick clarification lang doon. Hindi po lahat ng mga provincial buses southbound ay pinagbabawalan. Yun po lamang mga provincial buses na may mga terminal sa Cubao hanggang Kamuning area. So, yun po lamang yung they should turn left to Tuason all the way to C5. Pero yun po galing po ng mga northbound na mga north at they are northbound, diretso po ng Pasay. Allowed po yung mga yung dumiretso na 6 to 9.
So we're only talking about the provincial buses from Cubao to Kamuning na southbound, pinapadaanan natin sa C5 from 6 to 9 in the morning. So this should alleviate traffic on EDSA, but we're hoping this won't naman create so much traffic on C5.
Because ang sabi po sa kanila is to maintain single file just like yung mga track lanes po natin doon. At bawal yung dropping and picking of passengers.
Okay. Sige, Mr. Chairman, I know we're running out of time, no? So we'd like to thank all of our everyone who sent questions. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Sir Aquino. But before we wrap up, we still have about 10 minutes. Very quickly, Ms. Annie Ron, the chair would like to give her the chance to may presentation kayo supposedly, no? Please, I have the floor.
Wala na po kaming presentation. Thank you, Your Honor, for giving this opportunity very quickly. Kanina pa po ako nakikinig ng lahat ng mga solusyon, yung mataas na pangarap na plano. Ang hindi lang po nababanggit ay yung panawagan po namin na kagyat na mag-resign si Chair Francis Tolentino. Kasi kanina po ko pa po pinapakinggan, mula 2010 hanggang ngayon po, 5 taon nang mahigit na namumuno siya ng MMDA. At malaki po yung problema ng management, no? At sa bawat taon ng 2010, ang nangyari po sa atin, hindi nag-improve, napunta po tayo sa pang-5 pwesto ng pinakamalubha na kondisyon ng trapiko sa buong mundo. So, kung titingnan ko, kasi kami po ay unyon ng mga kawani sa pamahalaan. At ang nakikita po namin ang pangangasiwa ng traffic bilang isang napaka-critical na serbisyo publiko. Ang punto ko po kung bakit po yung grupo namin na nawagan na mag-resign si Chairman Tolentino ay dun sa prinsipyo ng accountability. Kasi hindi po namin nakita dun sa panunungkulan niya bilang pinuno na ginampanan ng buong ayos ang kanyang trabaho. At tingnan ko namin ay walang nagtimon. Walang nagtimon kasi ang kailangan po, di ba, nagko-coordinate. Sabi nga ho dito na iba-ibang ahensya, iba-iba yung magko-contribute para dyan. Kaya po yung MMDA, pangunahing ahensya ng mga siwa ng trapiko at may pinuno, dapat po yun yung nagtitimon. Hindi po namin nakita yan. So, pero malaki yung vacuum ng liderato ng MDF at sabi nga ninyo, ang kailangan ho natin dito nakatutok. Hindi ho namin nakita yan kay Chairman Tolentino sapagkat may iba po siyang pinagkakaabalahan. Kaya ang panawagan namin, para pare-pareho naman ho tayong guminhawa, no? Na hindi naman, inconsequential po Kailangan po yung Pangulo ng Pilipinas makialam para ho kumilos at mag-isip na ang Highway Patrol Group ng National Police ay makailam. So, ano po yung silbi na nananatili si Chairman Tolentino kung nag-step in na po yung kataas-taasan na Pangulo para solbahin to? Sa akin po, sa punto de vista ng accountability, marapat lang po na ang mamamayan ay humingi ng accountability. Kung ikaw po ay nagkulang, dahil po ngayon sa gobyerno, ganyan po kami tinatasa yung mga kawani. No? Outcome-based, performance-based. Pag hindi mo po yan na-deliver, may consequences po sa inyo. And I don't think Chairman Tolentino should continue getting away with this negligent at yung incapacity niya na mamuno. Yun po yung mga binanggit na resolusyon, pero ito kagyat po. Sa tingin ko makakatulong para meron po na mas kwalipikadong nakatutok na pumalit sa kanya. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Ron. But based on this hearing, it's not only the MMDA's problem. I think it's a complex problem. Mukhang yun ang gusto namin malaman ni Senator Aquino. Saan ba nagkakaroon ng bottleneck? Bakit hindi na-implement yung mga projects that were supposedly implemented 4 or 5 years ago? Diba? Yung mga terminals, lahat na, yung mga terminals hindi maisara kasi wala yung transport hub hanggang ngayon. Diba? So, maraming problema. And we will continue to, with this hearing next September 14, Monday. So please take note. Please tell your bosses, and I don't want to see your faces. I want to see your bosses again next time. So we want to see, we want to hear direct answers. But before we adjourn, I'd like to ask Mr. Benileo Carlos, from Working Group National Competitive Council, because I'm very much particular with the status of the infrastructure projects. No, sorry if we will be inviting you again next time when the bosses are here. But please, we have the floor, Mr. Carlos.
Salamat po, Mr. Chairman. Maikli lang po. Paalala lang na palapit na naman tayo sa Disyembre. Ito na naman yung potential port congestion. At alam ho nyo, meron pang overhang. Yung mga nangyari noon na nagtaas ng tracking rate, nagtaas ang shipping rate, ayaw po natin maulit yun. Yung pong tracking rate, ninegotiate namin kay Mr. Olego, ngayon nandiyan po sila, para may pababa na kung maaari. Yun lang po. Just a reminder, malapit na po yan. Paganda na natin yung mga ports natin. Thank you.
Ako rin po, Mr. Chairman.
Sandali lang please wait to be recognized. Thank you, Mr. Carlos. We hope to invite you again when the OTC head hopefully The other heads of agencies will be here, so we will talk about the basic infrastructure. Because I think, Senator, the problem is because of the lack of an efficient transport system, it's the volume of vehicles is the problem because people are buying cars kasi nga wala tayong reliable transport system. Ang sabi nga nila, ang gauge ng isang bansa ay na kung mayaman ay hindi yung dami ng kotse. Ang gauge ng isang bansa kung mayaman ay yung mayaman ay nagmamas transit. Di ba? That is the gauge of a developed and a rich country. Hindi po yung dami ng sasakyan. So it's when the rich people use the mass transit that should be the gauge and that should be our target. So before we end, Mr. Olego, ano po yun?
Regard po sa epekto po ng traffic, yung truck ban po, yung biyahe po namin sa export, marami pong reklamo ang nangyayari. Nasa shoutout po ibang kargamento dahil dito sa tinding traffic. Lahat po ng exporter dumadaing dun sa biyahe na yan ang nangyayari. Sa amin, lahat ng sisi, kami pa rin ang inuusig doon sa problema na yan. 6 na oras bago makarating sa pier ang inaabot ng export. Yun lamang po.
Thank you, Mr. Lego. Talagang problema ho yan. Yan po ang hinahanapan ng problema. And probably we can devise a way, marami. Yung carpooling probably, and then siguro yung sa tracking naman, siguro yung oras, no? Yung madaling araw, maluwag. So, yan yung mga pwede natin pag-usapan. So, before we continue again, next hearing will be set on September 14. So again, we're inviting the different heads of agencies to continue this hearing. So again, thank you very much. This meeting is now adjourned. Suspended.
Diyos ko. Patuloy ko na.